Hey, do you like looking at black and white spreadsheets where you can't find the data you want, just like this one?
Or like this one that you made for class with your data on things. Feel free to continue looking at these spreadsheets that are black and white where you can't find the data. But it is possible to make your spreadsheet look like this and color code to have the data you want be in the colors you want it to be. Lots of green data. And that is the data when, in this instance, it is programmed to show green data when the object is in the air. Height is greater than 0. If we lower our drag coefficient here in the spreadsheet to 1, we get our data eventually. Nope. Okay, maybe not. For sure, if we go 0.01, if I got this right, it turns red. And that's where we know that the data changes, because then you can look really quickly and see here it's still in the air and here it's not. You can color code your data really easily. Okay, maybe not so easily, but it's possible to color code your data.
How do you do that?
All right, so let's go back into our blank spreadsheet here that's just got data in it. Okay, so this is an unconditionally formatted spreadsheet. There is no conditional formatting here. So to create that conditional formatting, go into conditional formatting, then new rule. So you've got a variety of style options. You want classic. It gives you a couple of options for colors to copy the spreadsheet I'd shown you with the various color coding. Green fill with dark green text is positive. And height, where it is still falling, it has not yet hit the ground. And where it says format only top or bottom rank values for something else with format, click that. And you want to click use a formula to determine which cells to format. Then it gives you this room here to place in a formula. The formula that you want to place in is $, and parentheses, $B2. You really mean it, you want column B. We're talking here, you want the height, is greater than sign, $0, comma, $B2. Really mean it, column B. Less than, greater than, quote, parentheses. And then, okay. Then go back into conditional formatting. It's only been applied to this one cell over here. You want to apply it to the entirety of the document, and you cannot use your arrow keys in here for any of this code writing, which I just clicked on an arrow key accidentally because it's automatic to do that. So $A, $2, where my data starts up here in A2. And then my data doesn't go all the way over this way to Z. So let's stop my color coding at Z, but you can make it go all the way to the end. If you're on a spreadsheet with more data, and then I've got maybe a little bit more than 1,000 lines of data. So lovely when things just pop up and go, here, more things, random. Back to what I was saying, $A, $Z, nope, $A, $2, A2, colon, $Z, $2000, not 200, 2000. And then you can click OK, and that should got this lovely fun thing where it goes bye-bye any and all data. That should have color coded this conditional formatting. Range rules. And it's just randomly messed with numbers here. The reason it's not color coding is because this changed from B2 to B1400. That's more large number. Go back in if it doesn't work and you want to go back into that edit conditional format thing and make sure it looks the way you want it to. It should look like this. And then you click OK again. You scroll all the way up again. And you've got color-coded data where it's positive. And if something still goes wrong again, you go back to manage rules and you check again that it looks like this and you click OK and you keep going back and making sure it looks like that until you're done. Now, one way you can do to make the next rule is to duplicate this rule and to go in and edit that format. It's not what I'm going to do. So I'm going to delete that copy of the rule. Click OK. I've got the rule in here nicely. I'm going to go back up to data land. And then I'm going to go back into conditional formatting. Go back, make a new rule. Classic. Use formula to determine which cells to format. I'm actually going to stick with this light red. And then that is the format I used to make it greater than or equal to 0. What I'm trying to do now is to make it less than 0. So you want to place that same formula you had for this in green in, but rather than greater than and equal to in there, you just want a less than. You still don't want it to start formatting all your blank cells as red. So keep that. So it should say in your new formula section equals and parentheses $B2 less than 0, comma, $B2 less than, greater than, quote, quote, close parentheses. You can click OK. And just like always, manage rules. Check. I'm going over here. I'm looking. Those are the numbers I put in, right? The way I told it to. Up here. I'm going to move this one actually down because I'd prefer my green rules to be on top, but that's a personal preference. And I want it to apply from A to through. I'm going to go and say again, Z 2000. I type it in the same way. It's going to apply to the same set of cells. I'm going to click OK. And then scroll up. When I hit data, that data has gone red, which means my code stayed right. And then up here, seems like there's a gap. So I'm going back. Maybe my code wasn't right. It didn't stick. It did that again. We're going to make it 2 up here. 2. Yes, I told you. 2. You're going to listen to me. 2. Okay. Okay. We go up here and we've started at the top. And now there's no gap and we have a color-coded format. You can stop here if all you want to do was take my color coding and apply it to your document. If you want to continue to learn how the color coding works, I'm going to go back and take off this conditional formatting and go step by step explaining how it gets written and why it's like what it is telling this document to do. So pause the video here if you're good, and continue watching for an explanation of the conditional formatting. So going back in here, actually, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to completely wipe it. I'm just going to go through the formula, writing and how things go. So and is the conditional formatting for like, this is a set of commands. If it is any of these things, it should be green. So you can list a variety of commands when you start with equals and parentheses, and you place a command and a comma, and then another command and a comma. There are no spaces whatsoever in this conditional formatting. So the command that I have here is that from B2 over here, B2 down, which is why it is specifically $B. So anything in all of column B and then the 2 says starting at 2 and going down. That's what that means. In this case is greater than or equal to 0. So the way you say greater than or equal to is literally the greater than sign and then the equal sign immediately next to it. There is no greater than and equal to sign that looks like the one you're used to in math class. Programming is annoying like that. You have to give it specific things, and you cannot do b is greater than 0, comma, and then give it a separate command. And also, your b, we're going to tell it to additionally if it's equal to 0. This doesn't work. It just goes, haha, no, and writes it. So you want to specify, or that is how you specify. And then what this is here, as I was explaining, so you've got these blank cells, and Excel is going to read those blank cells and go, oh, it's a 0. I see there's nothing there. There's nothing there. That doesn't mean your data in that blank cell. Like if I go down here past where all my data is, past all the color coding, over here, yes, this data right here. What data? There is no data. You don't want it to start color coding this green because, oh, look, I see a 0. So B2 is not equal to, this is how you tell it, does not equal is less than, greater than, and then blank cell is quote, quote. So B2 is not a blank cell, and it is greater than or equal to 0. Those are your commands that you are giving it. Great, okay. And then you are applying it to the cells of your choice, starting with A, column A, and starting in row 2. And right now this applies all the way through Z. Past Z, it doesn't apply. You don't get color coding past Z because that's the letter we picked to end at. Now, this continues on and on with like A, B, it goes to ZZ, it goes to ZZZ, and kind of continues that onward in the names of your columns. So if you are writing this for a different document where you have data that goes further, you write it past where your data goes by a bit, and then it color codes for all of your data. Here, this formula, same thought process basically as the green formula, but the formula here is telling you, and I'm giving you multiple commands, B2, everything from B2 and below, it is less than 0. It's a negative number. And again, we've got B2 over here, is not a blank cell. You don't want those blank cells now red. You don't want them red. You don't want them green. You just want them there. They're blank cells. Don't give me random colors. Okay. And then we've applied it the same way to a set of cells. Great. That is simple. That is what we know for this worksheet. Now, the original spreadsheet I showed you where I was like, go find data in a random spreadsheet. This spreadsheet is over 4,400. It's like 4,460 something lines of data, if I remember correctly. We are only looking for some of the data in this. This is used in QuarkNet. It's got a pile of data. I do not want to be going through. This data goes all the way through AS. And it goes all the way down 4,000 some odd lines. I don't want to be scrolling through, looking around over in the proper line here of AI for where I've put in the things that go in AI. So as you see here, where AI is 600 and going down from 600, it's color coded as red. When in AI there's a 0, it's green. And where AI is going from something that's not 0 all the way up to 600, it's blue. And I've color coded that to be throughout the document with from like going all the way out in conditional formatting. So let's go back over that formatting and what was done to write this conditional formatting, which was more complicated than the previous conditional formatting. AI are numbers put in to represent when we need certain data. The original set of numbers in AI has to be put in, but once you get the numbers in AI in the places where you want the data, then you just have the data there, and you can take your data from these lines over here, which has to do with stuff made from these lines over here, and just put it nicely into your graphs. And without that color coding, it's very difficult to go, oh, what information do I need? Well, what do I need? It's going to be red, it's going to be blue, it's going to be green. That's what I need. That goes in the graph, and boom, I'm done. So the conditional formatting written here is 3 equations. Got one over here. AI is equal to 0 and is not a blank cell. I don't want these green when there isn't anything over here that I need. That shouldn't be green. I'm not looking at it. AI starting at 6, which is where my data starts on this spreadsheet, going down, wherever there's a 0, it's green. Okay, and then I've applied that, 44,460 some odd lines of data has been applied all the way from A to AT, which is the line right after my data ends. And then red rule. We want some things to be red, where it is 600 or is going down. So this is a bit more complicated. AI6 is greater than 1. All of that's greater than 1. Fun. It is A7, so whatever's below it is less than, so it's saying, talking about starting right up here where I've claimed this formula starts. A6 is greater than A7, which I wrote in the order A7 is less than A6, and A7 was right below it, is not a blank cell. And so we have here 600, which this is processing as A6, or really A65, and then A7, or A64, is that first line, which is where it says 600, 590, which is A7 in the code, A65 over here. It is less than what's above it. It is greater than 1, and it is not a blank cell. Because I don't want this cell that's down here. Look, it's 600. It's less than 600. Nope. This is gonna turn. We don't want other lines turning red, so not blank cell, not blank lines, nothing funky. Great. Okay. Then over here for the blue, go back over to AI and see blue. A6 is greater than 1, or A15 is less than A16, so this has to be less than that. And A17, okay, so we get A15 is less than A16. A17 does not equal 0, whatever's right above it. Like, don't color code the things that are zeros. Great. And the OR is saying, all right, so I've got and here, and this command as well as this command. OR is one of these 2 commands within has to be true. So either A15 is less than A16, or A17 does not equal a blank cell. And that's what that's saying. That's what the OR command is. So like basically either this or that. And that is what the conditional formatting is for here. I think that's a general overview of the ideas of conditional formatting and how you write it, which can then be taken and applied to any spreadsheet you're trying to color code with conditional formatting. And the way you create that conditional format is you click New Rule. You want Classic. You can pick your design. To get my just blue text, I did have to custom format and decide that I wanted blue text, and then use a formula, and that is how you write the formula. Equals either and something blah 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 here, blah 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 here, or you can be saying, instead of and, you can say or one of these two things that I'm saying here. You can do and with ors inside or ors with and inside. And you place that in and you get various color coding throughout spreadsheets. So there isn't anything that's necessary here to the data. So I can just scroll past it until I see color. And there is color. There is when it could be important, but over here there's no data. So I'm going to keep scrolling until there we go. There was a green line. And that green line exists here. And then basically over here, in AI, that's interesting. It's a little bit messy down here because I didn't get to finish formatting everything. But over here, you got our proper set of data. Over here, there will eventually be more of that data. But the idea is there, that is how the conditional formatting works. So yeah, I hope that if you watch this long, you're able to get some idea of how the conditional formatting works and how to write conditional formatting and how to use conditional formatting in various Excel spreadsheets.